Like most people, you might be wondering what is going to happen to the real estate market with the most divisive election ever, a looming economic crisis, and higher prices than ever before. Well, let's talk about that. I'm Kyle Wong, and this is Real Estate Explained. I am a licensed real estate agent here in Colorado. If you have any questions about the topics I covered today, connect with me using the link below. Well, let's get into it because this is a big one. Starting with the election cycle. So, contrary to popular belief, election cycles don't actually majorly affect pricing. I know people think, well, it gets very political and divisive, obviously, but people think that if something's happening, people get scared or they get excited depending on who is potentially coming into office, and they will panic sell or they will excitement buy, and that can affect pricing. And while it actually majorly affects people's perception, because for example, right now I have clients that are in one of those two boats, right? Either scared to buy because of one reason or another, or they're going to sell, or whatever the reason is. And it's just the perception of it. But actually, if you look at the historical data, it doesn't really change anything. So that is one thing to consider. And again, I'm just going off of historical data. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know the future. And then second thing, recession. This is an interesting one. For so many reasons. I'm not an economist. I just review and analyze data from what has happened and then try to predict trends based on what the most educated people have said based on the data that we have available. So really long story short, I don't know, but let's just see. So recession, we should have had our recession back in 2017 if you just look at the cycle of things. Ended up having a very small one in 2020 technically due to COVID, and then we had the most booming market ever when it came to housing, ever. Of course, it was artificially inflated, and we were just printing money out the wazoo. And then, of course, for real estate agents, for home sellers, for a lot of people, investors, it was like euphoria. But eventually, you have to come down from the high, reality hits, and we definitely got hit hard with inflation after that. Of course, that's what happens when you print money, so much money so quickly for that amount of time. But the truth is we have still yet to have a real recession. So what gives? There are lots of factors that go into it. Oh, and of course the active war, both in Russia and Ukraine, but also with Israel and Hamas. So Palestine, there's so much going on right now, so many concerns that people are thinking of. And I know people are always asking, prices are higher than ever, wages are lower than ever. These are all true, actually. The numbers that we've seen on these are crazy. Prices as in home prices, and then actually just living prices, right? So cost of food, cost of gas, all of the metrics that they use for stuff like that. Wages are lower than ever comparatively, and then inflation is eating up everything. But people are always asking, but prices have to come down, right? Always hear, what goes up must come down. And that's true, but still looking at the data, I keep waiting month over month over month. I'm trying to see trends, but I really just haven't. I will say, I have clients who had bought back in specifically 21 and then 22. But a lot of clients around those times, when they go to sell their homes now in 2024, they're not getting the returns that they expected. Because when they purchased back at that time, that was definitely a high in the market. And I wouldn't say we're low by any means, as I'll talk about a little bit more later. But we haven't seen the appreciation that we did, right? From 17 to 18, 18 to 19, 19 to 20, 20 to 21, just insane year over year after year. It was like month after month, you just see the prices go up, and it was insane. And a lot of people cashed out on that. A lot of people benefited from that. Unfortunately, a lot of people hurt from that as well. Simple, honest people just trying to purchase a home, and they couldn't. And that was really hard. But again, those people who did purchase back then, it was at a high time, and we're not low now, but they aren't seeing the gains that they were back then. I've definitely seen prices plateau in the market, at least in my market. And what I will say is the markets that heated up the most, so think of your most popular areas: New York City, luxury areas, Breckenridge, Vail, Denver, Los Angeles, lots of towns like that. You would see the highest highs in those places, but you also see the lowest lows. Other places, so I'm just going to compare what I know. Denver had a high, right? Just consistently higher prices, more activity, all that stuff. Colorado Springs, however, not quite as high. Definitely a crazy market for sure. Still is. Just not as quite as high of a high, but then they just stayed a little bit more level. So Denver, higher highs, lower lows. Colorado Springs, just a little bit more consistent, a little more flat on the curve, if you will. What else is there? Yeah, I mean, just hear the facts about it. Like, appreciation has plateaued, but it hasn't really dropped like a lot of people have expected. I know a lot of people have given up on this, but I still hear people holding on. Which, hey, maybe it's true at some point. I really don't know. Again, I'm not going to claim to know anything. I'm just going off the data that I have seen. I'm waiting for the bubble to pop. I'm waiting for the prices to drop. Maybe. I mean, maybe. If anything, we have a liquidity crisis. I don't see a huge major economic drop like we did in 2008. Of course, very different circumstances, but it's just a different time, and I haven't seen that happen yet. So I do know, and people quote lots of data from foreclosures, rates going up exponentially, which is true because they were at near zero levels. So anything compared to zero is very high. And they always quote, 104%. Well, to get to 104%, you could go from 0 to 1. So anyway, data is a little bit skewed there. But other things such as, these major price decreases, days on market. Well, first and foremost, the market that for some reason we're all used to during the COVID times was just so insanely high. Like I said, it was a euphoric high. It was insane. It was crazy. And we throw those words around a lot, but it really was a true anomaly. It was an anomaly is what it was. And so now that we've come back to more of a normal market, I still wouldn't even say, titans in the industry who have been around for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, they know that COVID was insane, but this is nothing. I mean, this is nothing. Like, days on market still haven't reached historical averages. Prices are they are what they are, but pair that with the interest rates, and it's just, we're not really seeing anything super duper crazy. So honestly, I don't anticipate the bubble popping anytime soon. I really don't anticipate any major price drops because people say, they drop this, they drop that. Well, yeah, unfortunately, sellers and some agents are still in the mindset that they're going to get 2020 and 2021 prices, and that's just not realistic anymore. So you have to adjust. The market always determines what the price is, and if we don't stay up to date with that, then they're going to get swept up. Their days on market is going to increase. They're going to have to reduce the price if they want to sell, and that's just the reality of it. So good list agents know how to price well so that it can get sold, and bad ones just list it at whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I talked about a lot of really big topics without going into detail, and that's on purpose because I really don't know. But again, I'm Kyle Wong, licensed realtor here in Colorado, and this is Real Estate Explained. So I explain real estate. If you have any questions about the topics I talked about today, these are very big topics, but they're also very specific to you. So if you have any questions about your situation in your home, please give me a call. My team would love to work with you. Thank you for listening.